Hello, everybody. Welcome to Clef Investments. Let's continue to talk about whether you should use stock-backed loan or box if you are using the money to buy rental properties. To answer the question whether stock-backed loan or box is better when you use the money to buy rental properties, it depends on your total passive income, whether you have total positive income or negative income, which is passive loss. So as we talked about before, if you have passive income, which is positive, then you better use stock-backed loan because stock-backed loan generate interest, which can reduce your passive income right now, and that allow you to pay less tax now, which is better. But if you only have passive loss, even if you use stock-backed loan, which generate interest, that only let your passive loss become a bigger loss, which can only be carried over to the future, to the year when you sell the house. And you may hold the house for many years. So we don't want to carry over many passive losses. And this time, box would be better because box has lower interest and its interest is capital loss. You can already reduce your today's capital gain with the capital loss. Or even if you don't have capital gain, it can reduce $3,000 of your regular income right now. But what if you have a small amount of passive loss? And if you switch all your stock-backed loan to box, the passive loss would become passive gain because you no longer have lots of interest from the stock-backed loan. So the general principle in this case is we should use a combination of stock-backed loan and box so that you use just enough box to keep the passive loss to be almost zero. This allows you to get the best of both. So let's use an example to explain. Let's see how to optimize the size of the box. And first, let's assume you have a loan interest 5.58% from your broker and a box interest which follows today's federal rate. Let's say it's 4.71%. Those are the numbers we used in previous videos, and let's continue to use them. And assume you have a $1 million house, or maybe several houses. You add them up together, they worth $1 million. And in this $1 million house you borrowed about 600K from your stock-backed loan, and the rest is your own down payment. Okay, so with 600,000 stock-backed loan and the interest of 5.58%, every year you're paying the interest about $33,000. And assume the current net income or loss is slightly negative. So which means your total income, which is rent, minus all the cost, which includes property tax, your HOA, management fee, maintenance, depreciation, and finally, the interest that you are paying using the stock-backed loan. So assume after you minus all of them, you get $5,000 of passive loss. And you have to carry over $5,000 every year. Okay, so let's calculate how big the box do we need to bring the passive loss down to zero. So first, let's calculate how much less you need to borrow from stock-backed loan. And $5,000 divided by the interest rate, you get about 90,000. So if you reduce your stock-backed loan by this much, you pay 5,000 less interest, and therefore your passive loss will become zero. So that means you need to use a box to borrow these $90K. And after you do that, the annual interest for borrowing using box is only $4,000. So you reduced by 5,000 and now you pay $4,000. This is because box has a lower interest. And this means just from the interest every year, you already save $780. And because this $4,000 is capital loss, every year you can reduce your regular income by $3,000. and assume your tax rate is 50%. This saves you your income tax by $1,500. And you still have about $1,200 interest left. So for this amount, if you have other long-term capital gain, you can save another $453. So the total saving by doing this, in this case, is about $2,742. So if you have $5,000 of passive loss and you save more than half by switching part of the stock backed loan to box. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.